Hi everybody, today is sauce day. That is my giant pot over here. You can see it is rather large. This is a day that my family both loves and hates. They love it because the house smells like my Pomodoro sauce all day long. They hate it because I almost never serve pasta on this date. And in fact, today it's Passover and Easter, so we're not having pasta today. Not that Easter has anything to do with it with pasta, but anyway. So, giant pot over there. I got 14 cans of tomato puree to open. I have my automatic stirring device here, which I will show you, which was a Father's Day or Anniversary Day gift years ago, which I love. I use it when I make my chili. I use it when I make this sauce, and you could use it anytime you're making any kind of a sauce. It's not terribly expensive and keeps everything from burning and sticking to the bottom, so highly recommended. Anyway, come along with me and I will show you about this massive endeavor. All right, come on. So first let me show you about this stirrer. Let me open it up and I'll show you how it works. Okay, it comes with two stirrers. I use this bigger one, or the wider one, for this pot. But it's basically based on your pot size. This is the actual device that does the work. Batteries go in this little compartment here. It takes C-cell batteries, which I replace every time I use it. So I'm going to do that. It's got this stick that goes through it. It goes into this thing. I'll show you how it all goes together. Okay, so this goes on the bottom of the stick, and it clips right in. That's your propeller, fits right in. And then this goes down on top of it. There's a hole down here that's square shaped, right like that. These arms extend out. They've got little grabber guys to help keep it in place. I actually use some rubber bands as well because it ends up pretty thick. And then you turn it on. And it's got two different modes. It's got INT, that's like, it starts and stops. I can't think of what this word. Intermittent, thank you. Or on all the time, and that's it. So I'll show you once I get everything in there, but right now I've got 14 cans of pureed tomatoes to open and get into there. So that's where I'm going to start. So that, my friends, is 29 ounce cans of tomato puree. I use the generic stuff from the grocery store, but if they don't have that, you can certainly use more expensive stuff, but it doesn't really seem to matter too much to my recipe anyway. All right, so this is a very simple recipe. We're gonna add sweet onions. Like I told you, I always use sweet yellow onions for all of my cooking. I'm gonna use, I think for that big pot, I'm gonna use 3 large onions is going to be what I'm going to do. And I'm going to use 2 whole heads of garlic. And then I've got these 2 packs of basil that I got from the grocery store today. So basil, onion, garlic, and we'll add to that salt, obviously. We will add some red pepper, because I like it to have just a little bit of heat to it. And I'm going to also add some sugar, which helps cut down on the acidity. So I'm going to go ahead and just dice up these onions. You've seen me do this before. They don't have to be super tiny, but we don't want them to be huge either. So that's essentially what I'm going for. And I'm going to cut these up, and I will bring you back when these are done and I'm ready to move on to the next item. So I will be back in a few minutes. All right, I've got all my onion diced here. This is going right in. All right, next up, 2 whole heads of garlic. Okay, so the first trick is opening the whole thing. So you just put your hand on the top and press down, put your weight on it, and the whole thing breaks apart and goes on the floor. That's okay. Much easier than pulling them all out individually. You still have to clean them, still have to chop them, but at least they're separated now. Whoops. I've tried the technique of putting them all in a bowl and shaking them really hard, and I know that people swear by that method, but it just doesn't seem to work very well for me. So I'm going to go with the squish the garlic and remove the peel by hand. Come on. Hey, look, another one on the floor. Okay. It is going to be a lot of garlic, but it also is a very big pot of pasta sauce. So, okay, get all this extra paper out of here. Wet my knife so the garlic doesn't stick too badly to it. And this is what I'm going to do. 2 whole heads of garlic. I'm going to split them. I'm going to press them like that, squish them, take the paper off. And then I'm going to chop them up until they're finely minced. So, not going to waste your time watching me do all this. I will come back when this part is done. Okay, so this is what 2 heads of garlic looks like before you start chopping it. And I'm going to chop it up till it's in a fine mince. And I don't know, it's probably going to take me about 5 minutes to do that. And again, I don't think you guys want to sit and watch me mince garlic. So, if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. If you really want to see me go through every single step as I'm making videos, let me know, and I will do that at least sometimes. Anyway, I'll come back when this is done. Okay, I've got all the garlic chopped. That's 2 heads of garlic that I'm adding into this, and if that is not a crap ton of garlic, I don't know how to measure a crap ton of garlic, because that is definitely a crap ton. All right, next up, the basil. Nothing says summer to me like the smell of fresh basil. Of course, it's not summer yet, but gosh, I love how this smells. All right, so we're just going to de-stem it, take it all off the stems because we don't want stems in our sauce. This is not a very precise science here. Take it all off. And then what we're going to do is when we cut this, we're going to do what's called a chiffonade, which is a fancy name for we're going to slice it real thin in strips. So that's what we're going to do next. And you know what? This is going to take me a couple more minutes. I'll bring you guys back when I've got this all de-stemmed. Okay, so on cooking shows, I've seen they tell you to like stack them up like this, and then you kind of roll them up, and it makes it easier to slice. Absolutely, that is absolutely true when you are making a small amount of basil. When you've got this much basil, it doesn't really work. So, just kind of try and get control of it here, and then we're going to do real thin slices. Like I said, a chiffonade. I mean, you want thin here. 1 millimeter wide, 2 millimeters wide. Take your time with it. Be careful. You don't want to cut your fingers. You want to go slow so that you're cutting it thin enough. Okay. Okay. And you know, if you have a couple pieces that are a little bit bigger, don't worry about it. It's all gonna get smaller when it's cooked for a couple hours on the stove. So I'm gonna take this over to the stove. Okay, and here's all of our basil. All right. We got all of our basil, onions, garlic, tomato puree. Now we need salt. Now, with regard to salt, all this sauce is going to take a lot of salt, but we don't want to overdo it because it's going to cook down. So we're going to add a bunch of salt, but not the full amount that we're going to need. I'm going to stop there. Okay? Here's my sugar. I said about a 1/4 cup. I'm just going to eyeball it. That's about a 1/4 cup. Definitely I need more salt than I put in. Start there. Sugar, salt. Let's see, red pepper flakes. Red pepper. That's about a teaspoon. We can add more later, but we don't want to start it off too hot. And olive oil. I don't know, 1/2 cup-ish. This is extra virgin olive oil, which is pretty much all I use in terms of olive oil. All right, that's good. Okay, I'm gonna give this a stir, and then we'll put in the machine, the auto stir, and we'll turn on the heat. And then this is gonna cook anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. And what we're gonna do is check it. I'm gonna set a timer for a 1/2 hour. And every 1/2 hour, I'm gonna come by, give it a stir to make sure that, nothing's getting left in the edges of the pot. And test the flavor. And I probably won't adjust much in the first hour because it'll take about that long just to come up to temperature. But then we will start messing with it. All right. Here's my propeller. Right in like that. Here's my stirrer. Goes on top like that. Stay. Couple of rubber bands. Here's what I do. Take these arms. Oops, wait. Go through like this. Okay. Around the arm. And come on. Oh, there, it's already down. Okay. You can see the little leg is already down. That was what I wanted to make sure of. Because that's going to help hold it in place. Which I'm sure you cannot see. But that's okay. Alright. This one's around there. Here's the little leg. I popped it down there. Turn it on. That's constant mode. Let's get some heat going. I'm going to start it on medium. We don't want this on high at all because we'll burn the bottom. I'm going to start it on medium for about the first 1/2 hour. Then I'll turn it down to medium low. And or medium. We'll see if it's up to temp yet. And we'll check it every 1/2 hour. That's it. until, like I said, it's about 4 or 6 hours for it to cook out. Sorry, a little onion fell. And then I'm going to put it in plastic containers. It's going to go into the freezer. And it's good for easily for 3 or 4 months. We never have a problem with it going bad. That's it. Pomodoro sauce. If you added in fishies, it would be a geez, now I can't remember what the other name for sauce is. Anyway, or use a fish stock. Anyway, marinara. Thank you, or marinara. So if you start with use any fish or shellfish, it becomes a marinara sauce. But without it, it's just a pomodoro. Anyway, that's it. We'll check back in half an hour. Okay, it's like 8 hours later. We decided to go to a movie, so I shut it off, and we went to the movie, and I turned it back on, and now it's 10:30 at night, and it's finally finished. So added a bunch of salt, like I said, at the half-hour mark, but always being careful not to add too much. You can always add more salt. You can't get salt out. So be really careful as you're adding your salt, because you don't want to ruin a whole big batch of sauce like this. I've done that before. You don't want to do it. All right. Anyway, I'm not going to yell dinner because it's not dinner time, and I got to put all this stuff into Tupperware containers and get them in the freezer. All right. So good night, everybody.
If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. Subscribe to Sandi Cooks on YouTube so you don't miss new recipes.